You see this bell icon here? Hit it now and we'll ensure you get delivered the very best of reviews, interviews and pop culture content. Hi Rocket Boys, Jim Ishwak. Welcome to Film Companion. Are you in the mood to spill the tea?
Hey Sneha,
Absolutely.
I don't know what that means, but yes.
I'm going to dive straight into the show. Listen, guys, that's a solid trailer. You definitely have something good on your hands. But I want to know right at the start, for two actors who have really proven themselves with role after role after role, what does it feel like to find yourself? Hi, Mimi. I cannot not acknowledge you. Hi.
Hey, memes.
Okay, this is going to be fun. I just know this is going to be fun. What does it feel like, guys, to find yourself in every frame of the trailer? Like, what is that feeling?
It's good feeling. It's a show about these two guys, and their friendship through the years. So I imagine if the trailer didn't have the two of us, it would have been stranger, I guess.
So I'm coming more from a place where you've probably had to hopefully look for yourself in the trailer. Am I there? Am I there? Mil gaya ek scene. Two, it's all about you.
You just said it. I mean, I couldn't have been more, I probably wouldn't have phrased it like that or brought that, given that reference. But it's happened. Like, am I there? Is there like, oh, kuch halak hai, halki si? And sometimes it would just be like, oh, in that second, I'm just like, wow. But I mean, I always saw it as a part of the process. I mean, that's all like, but yeah, I mean, it's like, how do I say it? I mean, it just feels great.
What do you got to keep in mind when you're biopicking, like when you're picking a biopic? Do you feel like you need to at some place kind of sort of see yourself as that person? Do you need to feel invested in their story? What's important for you?
Me or him?
Frankie or me?
Him?
Me, obviously.
Me? Memes, how do you feel when you have to play a cat? Do you feel comfortable?
Well put.
When you're, I mean, in a way, a biopic is at the end of the day you playing a character, one way or the other, And if a film has been written really well and the character has been, well researched and represented, I imagine it would be a similar experience to play a fictional character with as much weight and import. But of course, it's both easier and more difficult. The easier aspect of it is that there are real references you can look at. There's research you can read about. There are people you can talk to who tell you anecdotes about how the person is. But all of that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you're trying to represent somebody who, by all accounts, is a genius. Of course, I am not him and I can never be him. I mean, he's a genius. There's no question about it. But I can try my best to authentically try to represent or touch some part of that in the portrayal.
Yeah. What about you, Ishwak? Do you have to see yourself in the character?
Yeah, I mean, you got to do this thing and you got to do it authentically. You got to do it right. Once you get caught or put yourself in this grind, then there's no escaping. Then you're just there. You're just doing this, finding more. It's like a revelation after revelation. And because as I'm doing this, as I understand what that relation is between him and Homi Bhabha, I realize, oh, so that's what it is. Because we all are similar in so many ways. At the end of the day, it's a human story.
I'm curious to know about the both of you on set. I know, Jim, you've said that you have very opposite acting styles, and I'm sure that can be very exciting as collaborators. But did it ever happen that the other just threw you off with you were expecting them to go one way and they went another altogether?
It plays out in fun ways. There's always like the fact is the two characters have opposing ideologies, so it was never an issue. In fact, it only it helped. Sometimes they were spiky with each other. Sometimes they were supposed to really get along and have a good laugh. And I think they constantly challenged and informed each other's behavior as characters. So, any opposing ideology that we had as actors only helped, I feel. What about you, Shwanky?
Sure, it helped me. It helped me. And we discussed this one day, and I even told him that, because he shared something with me. And I told him after the scene that I think what you told me helped. So it's also how you receive it. If you out there, that what at the heart of it, we all, that, our intention is to get through to the other side, and we want to do it, make a good show, tell a good story, tell it honestly. And I believe in his craft. I think he has an authentic voice, which is great. And he's an asset to our industry. At the heart of it, however, I feel that it was very similar. While you may sense different energies, but the heart of it is to go out there and put out an honest performance. It's those basic things. How we get there is different, which is exactly what Homi, Bhabha, and Vikram Sarabhai were doing, right, Jim? There was like they wanted to get to the same point, but it's just that their trajectories were different.
Yeah. What do you guys envy about each other as actors?
I envy his command of the Hindi language and his earnestness.
Sometimes he comes up with an idea, an approach that I told him that I could have, I mean, it's not just in the context of this scene, but I've never thought of a scene like that, which is great, which is, he believes in being in the moment, and it takes guts. Somewhere, someone who prepares also has like, it's always, I mean, while it's like, it's fun for me, but it takes guts to sort of go out there and what he said, to be in that moment. And you need a solid understanding of the language, of the craft, of the story, of the character, to just go out there and be in the moment, because you can make a total fool out of yourself if you try and do that. It requires a lot of guts. So all of that and a lot more.
Was it this interview where I was talking about how hard everything was, or was that the last interview, Shwanky? I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, you and I kind of mixed up. What was hard?
Oh, because like it is an incredible amount of work. One, you're trying to represent a genius, somebody who thinks faster than you. Two, you're trying to make them seem like real human people that go through the same emotional things that anybody else would go through. However, their way of dealing with those emotions is just different, because they just know how to make it work for themselves better than other people. I think they know how to transform those emotions, use those emotions, not be bogged down by those emotions. They know how to just feel them and let them feel them, and then surmount them. Add to that complicated scientific jargon, add to that complicated Hindi with scientific jargon, add to that, like, me and Abhay would really complicate the blocking for no reason. I mean, we would. For one of the first scenes, I know that I've walked in, I've stood as Nehru's aide, then Nehru has left, then I've sat in his seat, then I've moved over to another seat, then I've made the guy a cup of tea, then I've sat next to him, then I, moved from there to the other side, and
it's a steady cam, single shot.
No. This isn't a steady cam. This is like me and Abhay have kind of come up with it. Yeah, this is the idea that I've had, and slowly we've come to a middle, we've come to not a middle ground. We've come to painting the scene, like how we wanted to paint it. And then you're like, oh my God, this means like 30 shots, like what have we done? Why have we done this? And then, oh God. And then, you're in the middle of your 35th shot being like, why did I should have just not made the tea. I could have just had the tea be made by someone else. Could have just sat, whatever.
You always wanted that extra take after the one which we do after One for Love. That extra take, the gym take.
After we've got it, after we've got it, then the take of like, now I can do whatever I want, like I can do whatever I want with the blocking of this moment, like, please let me be free for this one take. And some of the times it would be like, everyone would just have a good laugh and we'd move on. Or it would be like, why did you do this before? Now we can't go back. This one works the best. It would be like, oh no.
Yeah, that happened a few times too.
But my God, we would do some complicated blocking scenes, Sneha. Like, I mean, steady cam 2.5-minute shot, steady cam 5-minute 10-second shot, all the way moving around a party. Or the first time me and him meet, like it is a whirling, moving, dynamic shot, because I hate I don't like when I watch things where like the thing starts with the person is behind the desk reading something. It's like, no, this person is in the middle of their life. What is their life looking like in the moment when this person shows up? If you walk in on any given time during the day, for me, I might be in between doing 100 different things. So like, I don't like when I feel that it's been staged only for the camera. I personally really don't like watching blocking like that. It bothers me. So and Abhay and Harsh was so interested in not making it look like that as well, that like we would really jam about how to best represent the character. So there's scenes where like you're having a conversation, but I'm looking at a board and then I've wandered off and I'm doing something else and I find the book and then it's not there. And then I go to another room and I look there and then I come back. The whole scene is going on separately to all of this stuff that we've added to try to just, to try to make it good, man. To try to make it good. Sneha.
You brought up desk, and I just remember that I came across this very interesting story when I was researching. Did you actually end up auctioning for Homi Bhabha's desk? Are you sitting at it right now?
I am sitting at it right now, yeah.
That is insane.
It's the desk that actually was in Jamshed Bhabha's house, sorry. And when Jamshed Bhabha, he auctioned off his entire estate. So the house and everything in it, and the proceeds went to the NCPA. And my uncle happened to be happened to run the auction house that did it. And I was like, look at this desk, huh? That I didn't have any money. There's no way that I could have afforded it.
How long ago was this?
This was about 8 or 9 years ago. So, so I've the only constant piece of furniture in all the houses that I've lived at since moving out of my parents' house has had the only constant has been this desk.
That is incredible. It's full circle.
Yeah, magnets, right? Space magnets.
That is amazing. And let's cut to the point where you do have a lot of money. I'm kind of talking about a similar phase in both your lives where one show and one breakout performance kind of led to a barrage of work. Like I'm talking about Patalok and Nirja. What have you guys learned about that moment and just with coping with the influx of work, something that you waited for really long? Did you deal with that phase well in hindsight?
Sorry to say, but I was working a lot before as well, just in theater, and I've never made all of these distinctions that I feel sometimes are made for me. For example, I had constant theatrical work prior to Nirja. It's just that the world values the work post then in a certain way, mostly because they haven't seen the other thing that has been happening prior. But for me, I've never made all of these distinctions. I just never have. It hasn't been about how many eyeballs the show receives, but more the quality of the experience of making the thing. So prior to Nirja, I was acting a lot in theater and I really enjoyed that. And then post Nirja, even up until now, I've never thought of myself as like, oh, I'm a smaller part. It's been more like, I've tried to do this part as best as I can and represent the character as best as I can. So yeah, I just dealt with it the same way I had been dealing with it.
But didn't you feel suddenly famous? Does that not happen?
Yeah, but it doesn't change my approach to the work.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about you, Ishwak? What's walking the streets post Patalok? What was that like?
Well, it's nice. You want that kind of an acceptance, and people come and they say wonderful things. That's one thing. Post Patalok, that was beautiful. I guess I don't know. Saw something. So the one thing for me, because even when I when Patalok released, I'd been doing this for almost 10 years, over 10 years, mostly on stage, but also alongside there's these bit roles. And I was also I was kind of making inroads, moving from upstage to backstage, the kind of journey that I'd always wanted, because I think what comes slowly with time stays. And the interesting thing is that however, it was like you get the kind of a great kind of understanding as I was going about doing plays, and those parts never really got me under the spotlight in the sense, not so much in terms of getting eyeballs, but as an actor, I always believe that there is something. I do this for a reason, and it's kind of taken me in a certain direction, which is again my own voice. It's not borrowed, it's not contrived, it is authentic. It might not sound wonderful to a lot of people, to everyone, but it is my own. And it would be painful and disturbing to me, that and frustrating, that the people I really want to work with, the filmmakers I want to collaborate with, they might not necessarily, even if they're aware of me, they're not aware of that thing, my skill set. And post Patal Lok, that changed, which is what made me really happy. Other than the fact, of course, people send you a lot of love. We were in the middle of the pandemic, but the kind of messages I got, it was amazing. It was like, talking about those nuances, and I was amazed that you get that someone has seen all of this, and then all of that. It was great.
Yeah. No, you mentioned a bit roles, and while of course everyone knows Patalok, there was also the Ranjana, and there was Aligarh, there was Tamasha, and you were constantly working your way up. What did just being a fly on the wall on those sets, how did it prepare you for today, perhaps?
Never saw it that way. I always thought that it was like the first time I got a 30-second stint, this part with Imtiaz Ali. I was pretty excited. I was very excited, in fact. That was like one of the first few times I was going to face the camera, and at that point, it was a whole lot of things. I mean, I'd already been cast in Aligarh, and these two things, and there's also a bit in Fitur that I did. My excitement was I'm going to do a scene with Tabu, and I'm going to be on an Imtiaz Ali set. And the stuff that what he taught me then, and what I learned, that it gave me the conviction, the strength, the courage to go back to go to Aligarh, and then get a pat on my back from Hansal, from Manoj, all these amazing people I used to look up to. And then when I went back on stage, I kind of found my groove through this, because I worked really hard for Aligarh for these little roles, even if it was like a breakup scene. I mean, I was like, so much time I spent on what it's like and all of that. I took all those notes back to stage, and I kind of found my groove, and I stuck to that. It was like, it's like I was in the middle of a sort of finding my ground. A couple of years, 4-5 years, you've been doing this, working on stage. Sometimes you also get start losing hope, get tired. It'd been over 5 years. But this kind of got me back in action with a lot more energy, and I found my groove, and I kept working on it. I stayed consistent. So it was amazing. And then, more stuff happened. Veeray happened. I did something in South, and more work started coming my way.
Yeah. Now, Jim, there are some adjectives that have come to be used to describe you, especially in the press. There's quirky and unpredictable.
Oh God. Oh no.
No, but it's true.
Oh my.
Find me a headline that doesn't call you quirky or unpredictable or wild, or you know what I'm saying. But I'm actually coming to, does that at any stage or phase impact the roles that come to you?
Well, I mean, people continuously asking me about it continues to promote that stereotype. Yes. I think, if I'm being absolutely honest, I think it is a self-perpetuating system. And by that, I mean, 9 out of 10 interviewers will ask me about it, and then that just perpetuates it, because it's like saying, don't think of an orange. Everyone will think of an orange. See, it's right here. There's no way to not think about it. So what I always wonder is like, why doesn't the person just talk to me about my interests, why is this question repeatedly brought up unless there's some perpetuating of this very thing? You know, like in the beginning, I got asked a lot about the, negative la da da, and it became like, but don't you see that by asking me, you are continuing the legacy of this thought process? And that if you are uninterested in that thought process, and if you feel that I'm misunderstood, why don't we just talk about other things? And if you do not wish to perpetuate that stereotype, then what, can't we move on?
We can move on.
Brilliant.
We can move on to, I want to just end by asking you guys, what do you wish to take behind from the sets of Rocket Boys, tangible or intangible? What are you taking with you?
I wish that I could imbibe Homi Bhabha's quality of interest. His quality of interest is just phenomenal. He was interested in not only so many things, but the quality of his interest was so deep and so prepared to do the work required to really know that thing, that it just is a shining example in a time of very, very shallow interests.
The show itself, the journey has given me so much. As an actor, I would like to say the one thing that so many things, and I've mentioned this before. While the character, you give something to the character, he definitely gives you something. Your craft improves. So as I move on to the next set, I realize that what I've learned from my co-actors, from the story, from the character, has just made me a lot more. Given me a lot more strength and courage to do this, because it requires guts to be an actor. Any performing arts requires a lot of guts. It's not easy. We've all, journeys has been extremely, extremely difficult, uphill task. But yeah, I'm just got another kind of an energy and vigor now that it's kind of makes me feel unstoppable.
Love it. More power to the both of you. Can't wait to watch the show.
Hey guys, if you like this video, even if you don't like this video, subscribe to Film Companion because it's great. I've subscribed to it and I love it.
Hey, my name is Jim Sarbh, and if you like this video, please subscribe to Film Companion.